Hey everybody, Bruce here with Traveling with Bruce. Welcome to my channel today. Today's video, it's all about Royal Caribbean. They're losing a bunch of money and they're now talking about selling ships. They were saying a little while ago that that wasn't a possibility, but now all of a sudden the topic has come up in the latest conference call with Wall Street. Thank you, by the way, for subscribing to my channel, Traveling with Bruce. Thank you for giving my videos thumbs ups and supporting me on my Redbubble store. Every time you make a purchase there, I get a little royalty on anything you buy with a TWB logo on it. Thank you. Also, those of you who are now members of my Facebook group page and following me on Instagram, welcome aboard. And a special shout out to all of my sponsor members. Consider becoming a sponsor member of this channel. Just hit that join button right there and you can join me Monday night, 7 o'clock Eastern for the sponsor member hangout show. Ask me anything you want. We talk about anything, and then we do the big show at 8. Anyway, thank you, everybody, for being here, and let's get into the Royal Caribbean story. Many facets to what's happening here. Today, they officially announced their second quarter financial results, and no surprise, they lost a bunch of money because in the 3 months ended June 30, they did not have any paying passengers on any of their ships. Total losses for the second quarter were reported at $1.6 billion for 3 months, and that's about $530 million a month in losses. They're going to get a little better than that, but not by a heck of a lot. Last year, for the same 3 months, they made a profit of $472 million in profit. So you take the profit number and the loss number, put them together, and that's over a $2 billion difference in 1 year. Wow, what a difference a virus can make. Unbelievable. Right now, the company is talking about having shut everything down, having laid off their shore workers, call center people, shutting down their offices because, of course, they can't operate there. Furloughs, cutbacks, sending home crews, deferring build-outs, but with all of those cuts, they are still burning $250 to $290 million a month in cash, precious cash. And you take something in the middle, say $275 million a month, multiply that by 12 months, and you're at over $3 billion a year in losses just to wait out the virus. Now, they shut down in March. They were hoping to be back in April, May. Now they're talking maybe the end of November on a limited basis, but the way this pandemic is going, I don't see cruising until 2021 and maybe a ways into that. And even then, we might only have partial sailings with 10 or 20% of the fleet, just because they'll probably want to put their toe in the water and see how it goes. Now, in the last couple of months, we've seen stories now from various cruise lines that have gone out of business, and ships that are being scrapped. I know that with respect to Royal Caribbean, they did own a 49% interest in a company called Pullmantur, and that was a cruise line out of Spain. That cruise line shut down 2 months ago, and they have since they basically sold off their ships back to Royal Caribbean to pay off any debts they owed to them, and then Royal Caribbean turned around, sold the ships off for scrap, and they're being scrapped right now in Turkey. 2 of the ships are in Turkey, 1 more to go. And that's the end of that cruise line. But as far as the rest of the line, they've been saying, no, there's no plans for cutting back. But I got to tell you, folks, I think this is going to happen. There are a number of ships in the fleet for Royal Caribbean that are getting long in the tooth, and these are ships that just cannot, they just cannot be economically viable. They really are going to have to be let go because they're just not going to cut it when it's time to sail again. And the kind of ships I'm talking about here would be, for example, the Empress of the Seas, built in 1990. We're talking about the Majesty of the Seas, built in 92, the Grandeur of the Seas, the Enchantment of the Seas. These are from 96, 97, Rhapsody of the Seas, Vision of the Seas. These are the kind of ships that have very few balconies compared to all the other rooms that they offer. And if cruising is going to begin with an emphasis on balcony accommodations, These ships can't cut it. Now, I've talked about this before with other cruise lines, and Royal Caribbean is just like everybody else. They all have a collection of brand new ships with all the bells and whistles. 85% of the rooms are balcony rooms. And then they run ships from the old days. And of course, they've gotten rid of their ships from the 70s and the 80s and the early 90s, most of them. But there are a few, ships still in the fleet that are in the mid-90s to the 2000 range, and it didn't become completely common for all ships to have, virtually all balcony cabins until the mid-2000s. And so these ships from like 93 to 2003, they're vulnerable to being scrapped. The talk today was at a conference call between Wall Street analysts and the company when they were reporting their financials. The question came up, are you thinking of selling any ships? And they skirted around the issue without saying no. They really didn't say no. And the reality is this. Whatever ships they own that they can borrow money against, they've done it. They have mortgaged the company to the hilt to try to survive this pandemic. But an old ship without balconies or very few balconies, its value is $10-20 million. It might be worth $40 to $50 million to another cruise ship line that could use the ship. But there are no cruise ship lines anywhere in the world that could use cruise ships right now, especially 25 to 30-year-old cruise ships. And so all of these ships that are built, that were built in 1990, 93, 95, 96, these ships are probably worth a quarter what they were worth a year ago. And on their original build-out price, they're worth 5 to 10% of their original value. And bottom line is, that's the steel. That's the value of the recycled materials that the ship can be, that you can get off of the ship once you scrap it, unfortunately. So don't be surprised if in the next month or two that Royal Caribbean begins to do what Carnival has been doing and other cruise lines, and that is announcing ships that have been sold and quietly whispering, well, they're being scrapped. And unfortunately, we're going to see some ships head to the scrap yards. And it'll be a sad occasion because some of these ships have made phenomenal memories for a lot of people out there over the years. And I think a lot of folks out there were hoping one more time to go on some of their favorite ships, their older ones. And I don't think these ships will be given that chance anymore, unfortunately. Anyway, there you have it. Money being lost by Royal Caribbean. I heard today also, by the way, how much money are they going to spend next year on interest? For the last 6 months of this year, they're spending between $505 and $515 million in interest charges. So if they start sailing in 2020, the first $1 billion they make as a profit has to go to interest charges just to carry the interest on all the money that they have borrowed in the past and in the last few months just to stay alive. After they make their $1 billionth in profit, then they start actually making profit for the shareholders. And that is the hole that this company is in, and the others aren't far behind. Anyway, there you go. Royal Caribbean, lots of news today, and it's not all good, but that's the way it is. Thank you, everybody, for subscribing to my channel, giving my videos thumbs ups. Love your comments, too. Thank you for your support on the Redbubble store, and please become a sponsor member. We'll talk to you next time, everybody. Stay warm, stay safe, stay cool, stay healthy, and don't forget the social distance. We'll see you later, everyone. Bye for now.